ready to install the IBR BRZ Manifold kit for the WRX. Here's what comes in the box. What you get from IBR in the kit, you get the manifold throttle body adapter. Now it's here. You get this TVG adapter deal. You get some other hardware here, EGR, or evap solenoid bracket, whatever. Map sensor, delete, go here. So you'll be putting the OEM WRX map sensor here. And then fuel port deletes. Manifold will come with place for port injection on both sides, and we're going to be deleting those for now. Also in the kit, you get a gasket for the adapter, O-ring gasket. Get some hose couplings, and these here are the port delete gaskets for here. You get a cable extension for the throttle body wiring harness. It would attach here on the throttle body. Miscellaneous hardware, Allen key, and then they give you this big Allen key for getting down and mounting this to the block. I didn't know it was going to come with the grommets or the O-rings for the deletes. I bought some. I also bought a new, this is a BRZ throttle body gasket, and I'll put that there. And then of course this is a stock BRZ aluminum red wrinkle manifold. You can get a plastic one as well, but this looks better. Here we are, obviously, at the car. I've done some things in preparation. I would say thanks to No Subs WRX. That video that he did was where I first saw this manifold kit. But what he did, I thought was a good idea. Went through and labeled everything. I mean, there's not that much, but yeah, you never know. And it also gives you a chance to familiarize yourself with the install and what you're going to be relocating and or deleting out of the car. First thing you should do is disconnect your negative battery terminal. Because one of the first things you're going to want to do is disconnect your alternator from the battery. Also pop its retaining clips, harnesses, all the way down to this cover plate. We'll be done doing them all. Looks like I snapped that one. You know, go ahead and pop that cover off. We've already done some of this, and disconnect it there. You can touch it out of the way. Also on the front, what we'll be doing, and disconnect the evap here. Just pull it off its harnesses. We're disconnecting it here because you just want to take this whole mess out of the way. It actually tees back here, and then we'll disconnect it from the manifold here and tuck it up out of the way. We're removing these two evap tubes, hoses, right there. We'll relocate, we'll remove the mount sensor from the stock manifold, the OEM manifold, and tuck it down here. So we'll be relocating it to the side of the throttle body on the kit out here. On this side, depending on your setup, this is still stock fuel wise. I haven't installed the flex fuel kit, but you'll go ahead and depressurize your tank, disconnect fuel line from the bracket here. It just runs back to the firewall. You'll disconnect the evap line from just underneath it. It also runs back behind the firewall. And right underneath there, you can't see it, there's another fuel line that goes to the top of your high pressure fuel pump, which sits underneath this cover. We'll remove the bracket, and that will allow us access to that fuel line. And we're going to end up deleting that, and we'll actually just go ahead and take the stock line and run it right to the top of the fuel pump, possibly. We'll be installing a flex fuel kit shortly. Anyhow, we have to remove this cover. Like I said, it's 2 bolts. So we want to get that out. One down there. One there. Get that out of the way. Also on the back side here, I've already done it. You're going to want to at least unbolt the throttle body from the manifold. You're going to have to disconnect these 2 coolant lines and that wiring harness. Not much coolant came out of this one. Quite a bit did come out of the top one. We'll be tying these together with a 90-degree coupling and just delete the coolant to the throttle body. And then here's the harness, and we'll be attaching that harness extension to this. Now on the driver or passenger side to the rear of the manifold, if you haven't done an EGR delete, you're going to need to disconnect that pipe before you can remove that manifold. Also over here, you're going to need to disconnect this hose right here. If you've done the AOS, that's the line with this little fit. top port facing the driver's side. We'll need to disconnect that. Also back here, I want to undo this harness, this wiring harness here. And I believe that is all. And then we can go ahead and start unbolting the manifold. There'll be 8 bolts. We'll undo. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect everything and get to that and come back. So I forgot to mention, of course, you'll need to disconnect any intercooler piping that you may have had. I'm going to assume you already know that you need a front mount intercooler to use this kit. Yeah, we're just continuing to disconnect hoses right now. Move out from there. Tucked out of the way. MAF sensor. I don't think we're going to reuse this. But you never. So we'll clean that up. Just so I don't lose that. Just throw that back. So from this side, move to this next. We've already loosened this. Actually, not much fuel came out of this at all. Maybe. Here we're just undoing the 12mm bolts holding the manifold to the TGVs down below here. I've already done the driver's side. I'm on the passenger side now. They're on the same locations on both sides. There, 2 there, 1 over here. So we get in front of the car. So don't forget to undo the bolt holding the evap solenoid bracket to the bottom of the manifold on the passenger side. You probably want to try to bust it loose while the manifold is still bolted down on top. Now that should lift out. I forgot about that. And there it is. So removing the upper TVGs, just pull them up. Just pop that off. It's going to be the same on the passenger side, of course. What do you know it is? Pop that off. Bearing harness. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and finish taking out this fuel pump cover, the metal one. Not sure if we're going to reuse that or not. And while we're here, we're supposed to take off this foam cover. We will put that back. Next, we'll move the lower TVGs on both sides. On the driver's side, for the lower TVG, you have a 12 there, a 12 there. You have to lift this foam cover off the gas line. You want to save that, but that will expose the other bolt. Be mindful of those gaskets. We're going to reuse them. Last thing we're going to do in regard to getting this ready is pull these metal plates out. On the driver's side as well. Okay, I've gone ahead and done most of the prep work to get ready to install the TGV adapter and then the manifold. What I did to prepare on this side, this foam stuff, I just went ahead and cut it and I'll put it back, but that way I can just lift this piece out. I can get to all this, get to the evap solenoid, EGR bracket. If you've done the AOS and you've gotten to here and you didn't, you had that extra hose coming and looping around from the AOS. It's coupled with a 90. If you want, now's a good time to remove that and that lower hose. There's the top of it. The lower end of that. It goes right under there. It's hard to get to the clamp. Anyhow, that entire hose, one piece, the lower hose, will reach just right to get to So you just undo the EGR bracket, lift that out, lift that up. That gives you plenty of access to hit the clamp. Anyhow. You put the EGR bracket back. We're going to keep the evap solenoid. Bracket, the relocate bracket. You probably want to take these wires, they're out here, and just roll them underneath so that they're over here. You literally just take this, roll it over just like that. You put that bolt there. And there you have it. You can see it tucks everything nice and neat out of the way. Also right here at that evap solenoid, you need to Y these and extend with a piece of hose the evap to the bottom of the manifold. They give you the Y, they don't give you the hose, so you'll need to purchase some hose for that. Another thing I did, I taped up these openings just so I wouldn't drop anything down there. Okay, that's it on this side. Yeah, so now here at the front, that wiring harness, it was back here. And you can undo its zip tie from the main harness, pull it underneath these, and you can get quite a bit of slack on it. And it's going to come and ride over to the right hand side of the throttle body. And here's the map sensor. Basically did the same thing, pulled it out from here. It's going to mount on the left side of the throttle body adapter. We got these tucked down nice and ready for that, out of the way. This here was the throttle body coolant. Here there was another piece of hose in between. I took it out and I flipped this hose around, put the 90 down here, nipped a little bit of excess off and just reattached it. It's tucked down really nice. Look at there, I gotta get that clamp. That's it, kind of in the middle here. All right, there we go, clamp attached. It's real easy to miss these, so go back through and triple check your work and then check it again. To remove the motor lift bracket, motor hoist bracket. It's going to interfere with our intercooler piping. Tuck the alternator wiring down here, and we'll remove this as well. Alright, we've moved to the driver's side. Kind of the same deal over here. Just cover those for safety. Took the TGV harness, just wrapped it up here, taped them. Did it on the passenger side as well, so we won't be using those. We're going to remove the covers from the high pressure fuel pump. This we're going to get a 90 on. I'm going to attach it here. It's the one from the firewall. Next we take an 11mm deep socket. We've removed that fuel line. That was the bottom side of that bracket, fuel bracket from the high pressure fuel pump. We're going to put this socket on there. We need to bend this down some. We're going to see what that does. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get the TVG delete adapter ready. We're going to have to reuse these old gaskets here. There goes the dog. Be careful not to rip those. All right, good to go. Let's get these in the car. You also note before you put them in the car, they have an orientation. The longer flanged end goes towards the rear of the car. Put them in the other way, it won't fit. Okay, so we've gone ahead and got this block in the car. I taped it up so I don't drop anything down in there. But you'll need to set and bolt it to the block with the Allen hardware, Allen bolts and washer. There's one just underneath here, one right there in the center, and then one over here. You'll want to hand start these. And using the wrench that they give you, you can kind of move it off to the side. It will help you get in there. You don't want these too tight. I can't even see this one. Maybe for that rear one, it might be best to hit the wrench from the rear or the back side. And there we have it. We'll move to the passenger side. All right, now we're going to go ahead and prep the BRZ manifold with the stuff provided from the kit from IBR. We'll attach the throttle body. What doesn't come in the kit is this gasket. It goes here. There is the part number. You'll have to buy this. These actually came in the kit, but I did buy some. here's their part number in case you need to get some. All right, let me see if I can get a camera set up and get this together. Go ahead and attach the O-rings to the injector port, block offs. On the throttle body adapter in the kit, you get an O-ring. I've already put it in here. You want to make sure you get that seated. The map sensor delete came with the O-ring. It goes here. Allen. So down here on the injector block offs, deletes, there's quite about a washer's worth of gap left once this is set. If you tightened it down, it's going to tilt this up. Maybe it doesn't matter. But if I just throw a washer in between, then it sets nice and flat. So I'm going to do that on the other side too. Probably doesn't matter, but couldn't hurt. The kit did come with 4 washers, 6 washers, and I use those to bolt the TVG deletes to the block. So I don't think they were meant for here. Okay. Nice. All right, we're going to move on to the throttle body now. Go ahead and insert that gasket. And we've got that nice billet adapter from IBR. The This is the top with the logo. Okay, so it turns out on the BRZ manifold, the OEM manifold, there's these pins. I'm not sure why they're in there. Maybe to orient the gasket or the BRZ throttle body. But with the lower one in place, you can't install the adapter. Easy enough to pull out, just get some pliers and it just kind of pops out. It's sealed where it goes, so I'm not exactly sure we even need these in here. I'm going to go ahead and leave the top one. It doesn't interfere with the adapter. Everything's looking good there. Use the 4 bolts provided with the kit, 10mm. We have to use a deep socket. Okay, now we're back with the deep socket. So as per the instructions on the throttle body, you're supposed to take this outlet or inlet, this tube, and bend it up towards this. I'm not quite sure how far to move it yet. I'm going to bolt it on there, stick it in. See, I'm going to go ahead and reattach the coolant lines. Not sure it matters, but I have the hose, so I'm going to do it. So this deal here will be to the right if you're looking at it. And of course it will use the O-ring gasket that's on the and using the OEM bolts. I'm just going to give these one more turn. You won't be able to get to them later. I couldn't find a torque on this Actually, let me double check. Yeah, so the only torque they give is for attaching the manifold to the TGV delete. Okay, we're gonna just give them one more little turn and carry on. Go ahead and make sure the O-ring's attached, inserted well, seated well. Go there. So I've hand started those. I'm gonna take this time to make sure that gasket's still seated. And looks good. Continuing to attach the throttle body to the billet kit, the billet adapter. All right, good to go. So your harness adapter will connect here. Your MAF sensor will attach here. And they give you one more Allen to secure that down. Lastly, we'll reinstall the gaskets. I took them out while I was messing with this so I didn't ruin them. They seem pretty sturdy though. So one thing I did at the high pressure fuel pump where you have to bend down that nozzle to clear the manifold, it still needed a little more room, so I did go ahead and get a grinding wheel out and took out some material here and then filed it down. So now I can slide on flex fuel kit, fuel line, the stock fuel line, without this interfering at all. You may need to do that or bend it down further. One thing I forgot to do is remove the engine lift bracket. Two 14 mil bolts in there and one down the front. You probably need a breaker bar. Also over here, that wiring harness sits right here. Go ahead and just tuck it behind, out of the way, so you can get to this without the manifold being in the way. Undo any clips here and you can push it back. Don't lose this bracket, you may need it in the future. Go ahead and put the bolts back in their place. A few other things to note before I put this back in here, the manifold. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reattach the coolant lines to the throttle body. No big deal. The other end of that is over here. Once I get this attached to the throttle body, I'll cut it to size and then attach the next piece here once it's installed. And here we have the harness and the map sensor. This hose used to go here, still does. We're going to route it through the manifold. It'll attach here. The other end of that, I've attached some more hose, and it will attach to the smaller nozzle on the top of the manifold. First, I'll cut it to size. This here comes from the AOS. This will hook to the larger port nozzle on the manifold. We will kind of do that after it's installed. Once I cut some more of this hose, I'll attach it to that Y fitting, and it will loop and attach to the bottom of the manifold here. Yeah, I forgot here. This was that evap that went to that bracket on the side of the manifold with the fuel nozzle, fuel coupler. I'm going to run this through the center of the manifold, through the deal here, and then attach it. I may change it to red hose, I'm not sure. So, finally have the manifold mounted in the car. It was difficult, we'll just say that. Takes a lot of patience. You kind of have to wedge and move some things. But yeah, it's in there, everything's torqued down, it can be done. You may just want to, I had to remove this pump and these hoses here to get to that. You may just want to take this out from the get-go and install it again later. Just have it out of the way. Everything lined up pretty well. With the exception of this side, because of that fuel line, the hard line. I tried to bend it out of the way prior to installing it. Not enough. I had to get some screwdrivers in there and just kind of wedge things around. Actually get a bit of flex from the manifold, but I was able to hand start everything eventually. Just takes a lot of patience. This side, other than that, was pretty easy to get to. You can just snake in to get there on this side. Oh, now it's looking sick. I'm gonna clean up all these hoses and we'll review this again. All right, fast forward to the future. We're picking up where we left off in the last clip.
which we just had the throttle body with none of the intercooler piping connected, are installed. Just going to go over that here briefly for you guys. So you can see the problem. Maybe. Bottom of the throttle body sits about level with this belt here. So you need to be able to offset enough to clear that. And the way I did that was you can get from HBS a reducing offset coupler. So this is a 3-inch to 2.5-inch reducing offset coupler. I'll put the part number in the description for that. And that gives you maybe 3/4 of an inch clearance. Haven't had any issues with that. It's been fine. Attached to that, it's just a universal 2.5-inch intercooler piping. It has the rolled edge already. Came glossed. I went ahead and tried to wrinkle coat, and it came out okay. You can see here it's been rubbing off where it's been hitting the hood. Anyhow, from this 90 here, come to a Mishimoto 2.5-inch silicone 90, which then we drop down to a 2.5 by 8-inch universal pipe intercooler tubing. So from there you can see that we pick up with a Mishimoto 2.5-inch 45-degree coupler, and then from there it attaches to the Cobb intercooler piping. That 45 is about 8 inches long, so you can make up a lot of ground using it. If your intercooler piping doesn't quite make it directly underneath the 90 here. I added a piece of plumber's tape, secured it here with a bolt. That's just to keep it from vibrating too much. Kind of help keep everything in place. Two other items you'll need to get. And you can get all this from Amazon. The reducing coupler, the universal 90, the Mishimoto couplers. You'll need to get, to do the manifold kit, you'll need to get some of this hose here. It's 10 millimeter. I picked it up from Mishimoto. It's like 3 feet, 10 millimeter. Because you'll need to wrap it all the way around, and then it eventually comes around. It's way under here. Another hose that you'll want to get is a 5/16 heater hose, and you'll want to use that if you're going to reattach the coolant lines to the throttle body, which you can't really see right here, but they're right underneath there. Depending on where you live, you may be able to biker parade going down the road. Depending where you live in your climate, you may be able to eliminate the coolant lines to your throttle body, and then you can just use the 90-degree coupler that came with the manifold kit from IBR. just briefly how I ended up doing reattaching my fuel lines, reusing the bracket from the old manifold, repurposing it, pick up the Cobb flex fuel and fuel pressure sensor. We'll have a install video on both these next. Good luck with this install. Hope this was helpful. Please subscribe. Catch you next time.